Hey guys, I thought I had a chance here while the internet's down to do another book review on an awesome trilogy. I think all of you will know about it. It's the Hunger Games trilogy. I was kind of surprised I hadn't already did this one, but I'm telling you, Suzanne Collins, The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. This was one of the best series I've read in a while, and it was so fast-paced and so good that I went through these things probably in about a week and a half, and it was just so gripping, and and such a fast read that I was almost all the way through it before I could even appreciate how great it was. And obviously the movies, of course I'll do the movies later on once they're all completed, I guess, and stuff, but the first book, like I said, was just such a revolution. Yeah, it's a dystopian series, and but she did a really good job, I think. The character of Katniss Everdeen and Primrose and how that whole dynamic was set up about in a post-world, about 70 years prior or so, where there had been a catastrophic war. Once again, in the first book, a lot of this isn't. A lot of this is just kind of vaguely referenced, and we all know that that as we go on, we hear more about it. All these different sections, and what's interesting is over the course of time, I've even Googled or Binged the Hunger Games districts, and lots of people have come up with ideas on different areas of the United States or the world where they think these certain districts, everything's been halved up into 12 districts, and where they might be. For instance, Katniss's district of District 12 is, since it's the district of where they do a lot of coal mining, is thought to be around the Appalachians, back up in the mountains and the different things of around in West Virginia and things. Now, is it actually that place? Obviously, it's kind of left vague in that area, but it could possibly be. But and then each one of the different maps online are slightly different, and so it kind of varies in degrees of what readers over the years kind of think, and some of them show. One district may be around New Orleans. One of them may show, most of them think that the capital is around in after the Rocky Mountains, around in where Las Vegas might be and stuff like that. And we eventually go into, we might see that there's possibly a District 13, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Firstly, we have Katniss, and she's a very quiet, reserved person. She's very thoughtful, and so she's going about her life kind of beyond the. She kind of sneaks beyond the fence, and all these things are kind of overlooked because she provides for the community, and so everything's kind of lax a little bit, and in the process, they're shown videos, kind of propagandish videos about this harsh government regime, and every year they have a reaping, and two tributes from each district are chosen to go into what's called the Hunger Games. And the older you get, starting at like I think age 14 or so, your name starts going into a drawing of your district, and until you're eventually reaped, or your name is drawn and you're reaped and chosen as a tribute to go into the Hunger Games each year. And and as the time goes on, if you borrow some food or every year that goes by, your name is entered more and more until the probabilities of you going in are eventually get higher and higher. Obviously, if you have to borrow food, then obviously your name gets put in more, and obviously Katniss, with her family being poor and her father, her mother being a single parent because her father had died in a tragic mining accident. Before the series began, obviously she's had to borrow, and so her and this other friend of hers also has to go and get Gale, who's her hunting partner. Also, there, he's got the same situation, and so his name is also in there a lot. Well, when it comes to this year, her sisters really means a lot to her, and of course, it's her first year, so nobody's thinking anything, and well, obviously, her sister gets chosen. What are the odds, obviously, and so but there's also this thing where you can also volunteer for someone in their place and go instead of them, and so obviously that's what happens. Her sister gets selected. Katniss, obviously, without hesitation, volunteers, which was Katniss is the first ever to volunteer from District 12, which has never had a winner. Has only had one winner in the past, obviously, but has never had a volunteer, obviously, from. Now these other districts like 1 and 2 and such right around the capital, they're bred and fighting, and they're happy to volunteer every year, but not District 12. Well, anyway, she volunteers, and so her and then the other choice, the male choice, is Peeta, Malark, who winds up being one of my favorite characters of several book series. He is just an awesome guy, but we don't know very much about him yet. We just know that he's a quiet guy that's a baker's kid, and we see that eventually, apparently sometime he had given some bread to Katniss before, and because she was starving and out in the rain, but we don't know that much about it. Well, these two get on the train, and they have these people here that's supposed to help them get prepared for this, and then they have a coach, that's supposed to get them. The coach's deal is they're supposed to get them people that sponsor them, so that they're able to get things while they're in the Hunger Games to help them succeed and possibly win. Well, there is Abernathy, and this guy he's a drunk. I mean, he is just falling all over the place, and you can hardly keep him awake half the time, and and so I mean their chances of surviving this thing is slim to none. So they're going and they're on the train, and they get to the Capitol, and they're doing all the interviews thing, and then they finally get there, and they meet this guy, and he seems kind of sympathetic to her, and he's a really great designer, and he decides that she needs to make a statement, and so when they're all coming in there representing all of their districts, he has their thing catch on fire, their wagon and their suits, and everybody's like, holy cow, this is cool, these people from District 12 are awesome, and as the thing goes on, eventually they do an interview segment, and they've got things going on there, and I don't want to ruin anything very much for you, but obviously a lot of people's already seen the movies and stuff now, and so a lot of it's out of the bag, but eventually Peeta reveals a crush, and then boom, he drops a bombshell, and we learn some things from Peeta that he's like, hey, I got a really great, there's only one crush that I really like, and then the guy says, he's like, oh really, who's this, and well, are you gonna kiss her if you win, and and Peeta's kind of like, well, I don't think that the luck of that's not really going to be too good, because I came here with her. Oh man, that's a bad luck, but like I said, I mean, these characters, Everybody in the Capitol is all decked out with bluish hair and stuff, and just over the top characters. But that was a big bombshell there, and and then once again you got to ask yourself, how much is Peeta going along with this? How much is Peeta playing into the crowd? Peeta shows a remarkable ability to play to the crowd, and how much of this is actually, true. I mean, Peeta's character comes out here a lot, and he's just very selfless, and and then at the close of the first book, obviously, I mean, they go through the first set of games and everything, and all the challenges and stuff that happens here, and I don't want to ruin it because I want you to actually read the books, which is way better than the movie, even though Jennifer Lawrence is incredibly hot. And then at the end of the books, we obviously have the star-crossed lovers from District 12, and then we move into the second book here, Catching Fire, and that one picks right up there with after the ending of the second one, and all of a sudden everybody's still talking about Katniss, the girl on fire, and the star-crossed lovers, and and the whole thing here is Gale still back here, Katniss hasn't really discovered her feelings toward each of them. I mean, how does she feel towards Gale? How does she feel towards Peeta? She knows Peeta's a way better person than she is, and he deserves to survive, and so she makes this pact with Abernathy that hey, whatever happens, Peeta is the better person, and make sure that he makes it out of this alive. So they go to the Capitol, and it's supposed to be a big celebration. Well, because of the last book, I mean, the president's kind of ticked off because hope is the worst enemy, basically, and you don't want anything catching fire, basically, especially with the way that things ended. And I don't want to. I want you to read and find out on that, and so he kind of has a meeting with her and tells her, listen, you better be convincing, you and this Peeta guy, or there's going to be some consequences. So basically the pressure's on, and they take this whole tour of the districts, telling everybody how it's great, and due to the, some of the awesome characters of the first one, you have Rue, and then they go to that district, and when, things get kind of teary-eyed when they start talking in that district, and then they're going through the deal, and then Katniss, in a brief moment of genuosity, Peeta and them both offer to give so much of their winnings every year in memory of Rue and several things, and that was a great token, and that elicits the salute, which of course creates a huge backfire, and then we start getting the whole imagery of what the Mockingjay is, and about these mutations that the government has done over the years, and how some of them got loose into nature and bred with other nature and became other things, like the Jabberjay and the Mockingbird, and they got together and apparently made the Mockingjay, and the Mockingjay is supposed to be really awesome. And what was intended to be something bad or something that could spy on the population wound up being something really awesome. And it represented Rue, and it represented something, that's fixing to catch fire. And, it was just so touching and so heartfelt. And then right there at the last, just the love story that comes together with Peeta and Katniss, especially with Abernathy saying, you don't deserve him. And she's like, I know. I really don't. And Peeta's freaking awesome. If I was a girl, I'd want to date Peeta. Peeta is the awesomest guy in the world. And then, of course, you have the ending of that. There's the quarter quell and everything that's going on with every 25 years, obviously, since the rebellion happened and this war happened with the deal. Then they have a deal where all of the winners of the Hunger Games get put back in, and then they're drawn from the name. And obviously, since the president's a little bit ticked, then obviously Katniss and Peeta, well, they're right back in the Hunger Games with a whole new cast of characters, and like I said, with all these interwoven things coming together here, and right there at the end, it's just so heartfelt. And then right there at the end, right when you think you know what's going to happen, boom, it gets changed. And then, I mean, it's a cliffhanger ending to Catching Fire, and it means you just have to pick up Mockingjay. That's the last one. And then that one just picks right up where, boom, I mean, there's a big rebellion that's been planned for a long time, and things were well in order way before this, and this whole possibility of a District 13 comes into play, and where it is, and who exactly is running District 13, and who's the bad guy here. I mean, are these people all fighting for the good cause, or am I just a pawn in just somebody else's game? It's what's going on here? And then whole Primrose comes back into it, and Katniss's mother, and all of these things come back together. And right there at the ending of Mockingjay, which they're splitting up into 2 movies, it is a big, it's a tearjerker. And then right there at the end, and what happens to Peeta, especially in the 3rd book, and it's just, guys, and the ending will leave you, I'm not ashamed to admit, will leave you ready to go get a big box of Kleenexes, a great big deal of ice cream, and some chocolate, and to cry for a while. I'm going to tell you, because it's amazing, and it's bad and good, and it's just, but I'll tell you, it was a great trilogy, an awesome set of books, and I highly recommend it to go out and get these 3 books. The Hunger Games trilogy, here, sorry about that, by Suzanne Collins. Guys, it should be in everybody's bookshelf. It definitely was in mine. Took me about a week and a half with no internet to read them. From my bookshelf to yours, happy reading.